This is Adam Case from Bright Coconut and the website WOD. We're indoors today because it's freezing cold outside, and so I put together a little slideshow for you. Hope you like it. Here goes. In this website WOD, we are going to talk about content, simply because I get a lot of questions from clients and they're not exactly sure what do I even need on my website in the first place. So let's answer that question today. Now, real quick first, if you don't have my 6 Things PDF, I highly recommend that you go get it. It's going to give you a lot of helpful tips and strategies and stuff, and don't worry, it's totally free. Okay? So, when it comes to content, what you need to know is that you don't just have one kind of user coming to your website. Chances are you have quite a few, but let's break it down to 2. Number 1, you have people who are prospective members. Maybe they're coworkers with somebody at your gym who's lost 40 pounds, and this person has a high school reunion coming up, and they're like, oh my God, I got to get in shape. And so they come to, CrossFit, whatever, and it's their first time on their site. Okay, now the needs of somebody like that are going to be very different from, for example, one of your members who's been around for a year and a half, and they're getting all kinds of benefits and they love it there, and it's just they check in on the website time to time throughout their day to see what sort of things are happening, and you're going to have a variety in your audience. So when you're brainstorming what you need to have on your website, you need to think from those different perspectives. Okay. So here, for example, is just a very basic small scenario. I'm a visual person, so I like mind maps. Feel free to outline or tree structure if you like. But these are some of the major chunks that you definitely need to have on your website. You need to have a homepage, obviously. That may or may not be the same thing as your blog. It all depends on your strategy, and we'll talk about that in just a little bit. But you definitely need to have some chunks about who you are. Talk about your trainers. You might need to talk about your philosophy, especially if you're doing things that are not like a Golds or a Bally's or 24-hour fitness or curves or something. Those things people tend to know about. But if you're doing functional training of some kind or nutrition, especially from like a paleo perspective or something like that, chances are your philosophy is going to be unique, and so you need to talk about it. You may also have a unique location that you need to share details about. You're on the 3rd floor of an old warehouse, or you're at the back of a yoga studio, or you meet down by the lake or something like that. Now, these don't all have to be pages. These can be chunks or sections of particular pages. But what we want to think about right now, because we're going to deal with organization later, is we just want to think about what are the chunks of information, the sections on your site that your audiences are going to need to find. Okay, so just brainstorm all this stuff out about you. Getting started. Maybe you have an elements or an on-ramp or something like that. Talk about it. People need to know how to get started with you. Have a section about your schedule so that people know when you're open. Have a section about your fees so they know how, they know what they're getting into. If you feel that needs some explanation, then explain it. No problem. You definitely need a contact section on your site. I'd probably recommend a contact page that has your phone number, has a Google map, has a contact form. Please don't put your email address out there because spam bots will grab it up and you'll get more Viagra ads than you probably know what to do with. So use a contact form. And then, of course, a blog. Some people are like, do I need a blog? Do I not need a blog? In this day and age, if you're running some sort of business, I'll keep that really open, you most likely do need a blog, simply because Google and other search engines, but let's just talk Google because they're the emperors. They like regularly updated websites, and a blog is a classic way to do that. Also, it's just a great way to share what's going on at your gym, or your business, whatever it is. So chances are, you're going to want to blog. So these are some of the basic chunks. You may need other ones depending on what you do. If you're like some friends of mine, Ultimate CrossFit, they have a CrossFit program, but they also have a boot camp program that's completely unique. They have a kids program, an endurance program, a nutrition section. That you need to map out what you need depending on your particular situation. Okay, let's talk about your blog. Do you really need to post WODs every day? The short answer is no. And I'll throw a caveat in there, or I'll tell you why I think of it this way. If what you do if you're known for your programming, if your CrossFit main site if you're Coach Rutt with a Max Effort Black Box, if you're the guys at Brand X who are scaling workouts and talking about strength bias, if you're Carl Paoli and you're doing your gymnastics WOD, for example, then yeah, you probably need to post your WODs every day because people are coming for your programming. They're coming to your website for your specific programming. However, if you're a gym that follows CrossFit main site, or you're just a gym out there that's not necessarily renowned for your programming, then chances are you don't really need to post your WODs every day because the people who are going to do your workouts are doing them with you. Also, it can take up a lot of time in your day. I mean, I know so many gym owners who work on the average 12 to 14-hour days, sometimes multiple jobs, and posting their workout every single day, while fun and exhilarating in the beginning, ends up being, a lot to deal with. So, give you an example, the guys over at s3endurance.com, they started posting them on a weekly basis, which I think is a great idea because your members also know what shoes to bring. So you don't have to necessarily post your WODs every day. Chances are actually pretty high that you don't, but I'll leave that one up to you. So no, probably not. So what should you write about? Well, how's about upcoming events? Maybe you got a social event coming up this Friday. Everyone's going to get together and barbecue. Maybe there's a certification, either at your location or in your general area. Maybe Rob Wolf's coming to town. Who knows? But talk about upcoming events. Share recipes on your site. Do reviews of, hey, what did everybody think of the new Oli bars that we got in from Again Faster, something like that. Success stories, however, are the biggie. I definitely recommend posting these whenever possible, simply because your members will love it because they get to see themselves, or they get to see the people that they work out with, or they get to see the people who work out at an opposite time of the day. So it helps them get to know the rest of the general community at large. But also, success stories are awesome for prospective members because they don't know if this stuff works and they don't know how well it works. And so when they see a transformation on your site, it's the best testimonial that you could ever ask for. So you might also want to post things about the mental side of training or the lifestyle that you're encouraging. There's a lot of great people doing some fantastic stuff like that with that. Obviously, Elizabeth Darsh, CrossFit Watertown, and now her own site of her writings. Jenny Yunt at CrossFit Fire, I got to throw props out to her. She writes awesome posts. I live nowhere near Chicago, and I love reading her posts just because she's hilarious. So, there's a lot of things you can do besides just post your workouts. There are tons and tons and tons of options out there. So if you still don't have a clue, just go poke around any of the sites I mentioned or other CrossFit sites that you like. I think you'll see a lot of examples of content that you can put out there that's not necessarily workout related. So organization of all this content that you've just mapped out is going to come later. For now, just map it. Get clear on what you need. We'll find a space to put it later on, but for now, just map it. Okay? You got your homework? We'll see you next time.